Hey,
All
hey,
right.
welcome to another Epidose. We're doing another side of short ribs. So this is where we grab a topic, break it down real quickly for you in 5 to 10 minutes. We do various topics and we have a playlist on the video of short ribs. So if this topic isn't what you're looking for, I'm sure there'll be one there that you'll go ahead and scarf down like a delicious short rib. So, Tom, what are we talking about today?
Today we are answering the ever-present question of why would you hire a carnivore coach? So that question pops up. I see it's a kind of a natural question for a lot of people because carnivore in its essence is very simple. So why would you hire somebody to tell you to eat meat? That's the question. And I get it. It's a fair question. But due to the popularity of hiring coaches, obviously there's a lot of people out there who who don't think that's an obvious question because they see the need for a carnivore coach. So I thought we would just maybe get into some of the reasons or some of the experiences that people have that lead them to wanting a coach. So you've done some coaching. What have you noticed?
Yeah, so one thing for sure that stands out is that, oftentimes when people are trying carnivore, um, they're the only carnivore that they know, right? So they don't know what to expect, what not to expect, what's so called normal, what's not normal. Um, how they should feel through it, what to expect, you know, and so it's really nice to have somebody that you hired that you're able to talk about it, and there's many different coaching, some people need to talk to someone daily, sometimes it's weekly, um, sometimes it's text messaging if the coach is willing to offer that. The other point is the accountability. Obviously, some coaches have the trick where it's like, okay, if you want, you can send me your meals so we can track your carbs, so you can see like, oh, there's a piece of bread there, all right, um, or oh yeah, it's a mighty nice uh, side of steak or a really big thing of steak that you got on the plate there. So again, it kind of goes back into something we talk about a lot about under eating, and people that are especially starting out, sometimes they have a lot of problems because they're not eating enough, and that could be fat or protein. And so having a coach, you can discuss those things as well as sending your meals in. Sometimes I'll get a meal or I'll see a meal and I'll be like, you know what, I just don't think that's enough. I think either you're going to want to eat another meal in a few hours, or I don't think that's good enough for OMAD if they plan on doing one meal a day. So there's a lot of little nuance to the carnivore diet actually when you start getting into it. And the third reason I would say for hiring a coach is issue specific, what you're trying to accomplish, whether it's weight loss, emotional, mental health, weightlifting, weight gain, maybe. There's different coaches that specialize in different things. Particularly my specialties are migraine headaches, because that was I dealt with, and mental emotional stuff because of my background and my history with that as well. If someone came to me, help with diabetes, I would probably be okay. I mean, I know it from a technical, from a learning, academic, you could say, standpoint, but I don't really know what it's like to have diabetes because I don't have diabetes. So I may not be the right coach for someone that's using the carnivore diet for their diabetes.
Right. Well, I'd like to say that for all the reasons that we do the videos and the short ribs in particular, each one of those is answering a common question. So let's say you just don't want to watch hundreds of hours of videos to try and find your questions getting answered. The shortcut to that is just to get a coach and ask them the questions, the ones that mean something to you, rather than watching a bunch of videos. I mean, some people aren't used to YouTube, so they just, you know, they're not on YouTube watching videos anyways. They and some people just, that human connection, it makes it more seem real to them when they're talking to a person who's been through it rather than watching a video or reading a book, perhaps. Of course, there's not a lot of books out there, there's a handful now. So I think that's part of it. Um, and then, like Justin said, the specialty issues, like I focus a lot on helping people in the autistic community. So people who have autism, particularly adult autistic people, people on the spectrum, people with Asperger's and stuff like that. And then, which doesn't get covered a lot or hardly at all, except maybe in a few videos I did a long time ago. So we do have specialties. So there's all kinds of coaches out there. There's people with different personalities. Some people want to jump in head first and just cut everything else out of their diet. They want to go through their kitchen and throw everything away that's not carnivore. And then you've got people who want to ease into it for one reason or another. Or maybe the issue is you're the only carnivore in the household and there's 4 or 5 other people eating carbs all day. And you're like, how do I cope with that? Because I can't throw everybody else's food away. So you get into issues like that. Maybe it's meal prep. Maybe you're just used to eating fast food and you want to start cooking for yourself. Maybe it's just, all the information in the world just doesn't override all your insecurities about it. So, for all those reasons and many others, sometimes people have really personal questions and they don't want to post them in a comment section or on the internet somewhere. They want to talk to a person one on one and keep it confidential. All those things. There's far more reasons to hire a coach than I ever imagined. I even thought it was a little silly when I first heard about it. And then when I started doing it, then the light went on, because there's, I don't know, thousands of people hiring coaches now and you can do it pretty inexpensively. So, and then, some people, that's what they do. They like, I want to learn something new. I'm going to get advice from somebody with more experience than me. That's just a natural thing. That's probably falls under the realm of being more productive too, just cutting to the chase, and being in contact with somebody who has already been down that road, rather than reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, the people that I coach sometimes, they're like, oh, wow, I wish I would have had a coach months ago. Because they try to do it on their own and either they slip or they're not getting the results or they're having some special issue and they try to read, someone's book or watch someone's channel. And it's a lot of information, and even us coaches sometimes need to talk to other coaches, because we might forget something or we might try to see a different perspective or a different technique on different ratios and things like that. So but we don't want it to sound complicated for people to run away, right? And so that's why the big message is eat meat, drink water, which is great, and a lot of people do great with that. But we're all just enough different to where um, depending on goals, that may not cut it, or that might even be a struggle just to sticking to that. So there's, like Tom said, I believe there's more reasons to hire a coach than not. Most are affordable, some of them, and there's a big range. So you could have someone like Austin, who we've had on the program, who's essentially a doctor, and she's really gonna dig into the expertise and have you do blood work and really get really scientific with you as far as how your body's operating, hormones and things of the nature. Then there's plenty of MeatRx coaches that are very casual, that aren't going to get too deep in the weeds with you and blood tests and things like that. So there's many options depending on what you want to do, how interested you are, what you're trying to treat.
Yeah, and to be honest, there's some conflicting information out there too. So, or some information that may seem like it's conflicting, but it's not necessarily conflicting. It has some nuance to it, and so sometimes you need somebody to break that down for you and explain it to you in a meaningful way to you. Like any culture, we develop our own sort of language And if you're new to it, you may not may not be able to fully encompass the vocabulary and the nuances of the vocabulary. So, again, the expedient thing to do is to hire a coach and just ask the coach, hey, why are people saying this, or why are people saying that? And isn't that a conflict? Is it a conflict, or is it not a conflict? So there's a lot of clarification on that. And some people just want quick, fast answers to, okay, how do I do this starting tomorrow? What do I do? You know, um, what do I expect? And how long is this going to take? How long is that going to take? And that's the thing. When you talk to coaches, they've already done this themselves. They talk to other coaches, and then they've coached people through it. So they see more and more circumstances, especially the less anticipated circumstances, on a day-to-day basis. So when you can tap into an experience like that, it can certainly make the process more efficient and get you through it in a more timely manner. Experience less frustration, right?
Right, exactly. Coach is definitely a shortcut. And hey, I'll just throw it out there. You might have to coach shop. We're not all as visible as we'd love to be. But I almost guarantee that no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're trying to heal, um, what your goals are, there's probably a coach out there for you. Or contact one of us, and we know lots of coaches. A lot of us network with each other. So, like I said, I may not be good for diabetes, but I know a few coaches that I think would be excellent.
Right. And there are people that hire one coach and they learn from that coach for a while, and then they hire another coach, somebody with a different personality or different background, and then they work with that coach for a while to get a more well-rounded understanding of what they're doing and how to do it best. So, and some people just do that just to compare notes and make sure they're getting good advice, and if you're getting repeated advice from coaches that seems to be working, don't be afraid to ask a coach, oh, do you know somebody who had this experience? Or do is there information about it out there? So that's a good way to just sort of cut to the chase and get your needs met as far as whatever they might be.
Yeah, and I've been kind of surprised. I've had clients come to me that had worked with a coach that I would think is more experienced than me, that very high dollar coaches, and they come to me and they love the way that I operate, the way I run the coaching, and because I do it my own way, and so I think it really does help to find the right coach for you because it's going to be individualized.
Yeah, and one of the surprise sort of audiences I found was that you get a person who's had good success on carnivore, and then they're telling somebody else about it who's like, what, really? I'd never heard of this before. I can't believe this exists, so they're not already steeped in the culture, and they're not already watching the videos and joining Facebook groups or following people on Instagram. So then for them it's like, well, is there somebody I can talk to about this, and then you wind up coaching that. And I've gotten a number of coaching sessions from people who are like, hey, could you talk to my 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 mother, or could you talk to my cousin, or could you talk to my coworker or whatever. So that happens too. So those people are, maybe they're just not into social media, or maybe they really just want to talk to a person and don't really want to do their own homework. You could be on either side of that. Some people like to do things very privately and very quietly and very much on their own, and some people right out of the gate they want to talk to a real person. So there's not really a right or wrong to any of that. That's just what suits you, and what fits in your wheelhouse, right?
Right, exactly. But I'd say me and Tom both recommend coaching, whether it's with us or someone else. We think it can really help people on the carnivore journey, or keto, or fasting. There's all different kinds.
Right. Yeah, maybe you have a particular health problem you want to deal with. You want to find a coach who has experience with that health problem, or maybe you're into weightlifting, or you're into long distance running, or maybe it's some other thing you want to achieve. Maybe you just want to alter your body composition without going to the gym. Who knows? So whatever your interest is, if you've got goals, you can find a coach to help you meet them. All right. Anything else,
All right.
Justin?
No, I believe we got coaching all wrapped up.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching. And until next time, eat meat, feel better, and whatever you do, don't fall
Don't
down
fall down the
the
carb
carb hole.
hole.